Scotland versus France, Sunday afternoon. The teams are out. Here's my reaction to them and making a combined team between both squads of 23. Let me know what you would do, what you think of my selections in the comments, and hit subscribe while you're there as well. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. And yeah, look, that's one of the iconic images of France doing very well in Paris over the years. Jamie Ritchie took that like an absolute champ, and he's got a chance for a rematch because Mohamed Haouas is the one change to France's matchday squad. I was going to say starting 15, but matchday squad. So everything completely the same. The only reason Mohamed Haouas is coming in is because Uini Atonio's suspension, of course, after his tackle that was cited following the Ireland game. So France haven't been performing at the level they would expect of themselves and that we've seen before. No changes. Is that confidence in what they're doing? Or could that potentially be a bit of hubris, a bit of overconfidence? You can understand it. They've done so well for such an extended period of time, and the coaches have put a lot of confidence in these players that even if the media and fans start thinking, oh, this player's not quite playing at the level he was, maybe we should make a change. I think they've earned the right to not panic and just to keep things going and keep the wagons rolling. You do wonder, though, if there's an opportunity for France. I think in particular, the one person they're missing more than anybody else is Jonathan Danty, inside centre. And before Danty, they had Vakatawa, who obviously cannot play now. And they're just lacking a little bit of punch in that midfield, which is where I think there's a great opportunity for France. The conversation about who's the best 10 and Tamac or Jalabert will continue. And just blocking the bench there. It's exactly as the bench was with Falatea being leapfrogged by Haouas into the tight head prop position. Tauffinua, Kroos, Makalou, Kouiou, and Jalabert, making it a kind of 6.5 split. 6.5, 2.5 split, because Makalou's so versatile. So was I surprised that France kept things the same? Not really. They're keeping faith with the guys that have served them so well for such a long period of time. They are under pressure. Make no mistake, they're under pressure. If they don't perform and they don't get a win against a very good Scottish team in France, the jitters will start to creep in with the French media, with the public, and I also believe within the coaching staff and the team as well. There's a massive amount of expectation. There's a hell of a lot of support behind them. French rugby is in a fantastic place, and they just need to keep that momentum going. I guess the other player you could say that they're still missing is Gabby Villiers on the wing. Ethan de Mortier looks pretty handy. Caught out positionally a couple of times. Might be an area that Scotland try and exploit. But the matchup to end all matchups is Duhan van der Merwe opposite Damien Penaud. What a matchup. And as you say, there's Damien Penaud, one of the best wingers in the world. And another one of the best wingers in the world is back, as is, well, not back, it continues. But the Mish is back. Hamish Watson returns in the only change to the starting 15. There are further changes on the bench, which again, I'm blocking. I apologise for that. So I'll just run you through them. Fraser Brown, Jamie Batty and WP Nell on the bench. Luke Crosby loses his spot on the bench. Sam Skinner comes in. It's a 6-2 split. Dempsey stays there. And Ali Price is the other change. No Chris Harris on the bench. Ali Price comes back in. So just on Ali Price, firstly, he performed well for Glasgow off the bench at the weekend. And that has obviously got him the spot. I'm a little bit surprised, to be perfectly honest, because he still is, benching for Glasgow. But I wonder if it's his kicking game that he's been chosen for. I do wonder if that's a slightly... Horn plays with massive tempo. I do wonder if that's maybe a slightly conservative selection. Scotland hoping they can be maybe just nudging ahead with 20 to go, and then you've got Ali Price on, who's maybe more of a game manager. I don't know, maybe. But Blair Kinghorn, to have him on the bench when you're going a 6-2 split is invaluable. There was some talk, and I did wonder whether maybe Kinghorn would come in for Stuart Hogg at fullback, but Gregor Townsend has continued with Hogg. I would have understood Kinghorn coming in. He's looked so good off the bench. But then is he one of those players where he's looked so good off the bench that actually him coming on with half an hour to go when some of these big French guys are tired and there might be a little gap he can get through is there. And Stuart Hogg, he's been there before. He knows what it takes and what it means to win in Paris. And I have no problem with backing a guy with that much class and pedigree behind him. Other than that, other than Hamish Watson for Luke Crosby, um, no change. One thought on Hamish Watson, obviously an immense player of the tournament last year. Um, is he playing up to the level that we normally know? From what I've seen, he's not quite there. But again, much like with Stuart Hogg, you cannot deny the class and the pedigree. So I'm really happy that Hamish Watson is back. Surprised Luke Crosby's out of the 23 entirely. And just picking up on what I said about France, I think Huey Pilotu, that centre pairing, they've just got a little bit more bite than France at the minute. Gael Fickou is awesome. Moefana is really good in his own right. Just as a combination, I just think there's something dynamic, particularly when you've got the threat of Van der Merwe, and France are going to have to be wary of that. Finn Russell's just got this box of toys he can play with. Stuart Hogg out the back and in the wide channels. I mean, this will be a massive game for Finn Russell. Leaving France Racing at the end of the season, hasn't delivered what they signed him to deliver for Racing yet, whilst he has been fantastic. And it doesn't look like they're going to deliver it this season in his final year either. So in his home city as it currently stands, where he's living, massive day for Finn Russell. I'm so excited to see this. The big question with the 6-2 split, a bit of a risk, yes, if one of the backs goes down injured, but can the pack, even with the 6 coming off the bench, can they match the power game that France are going to bring? I think Ireland showed the blueprint. Keep the ball in play, don't kick it to touch, keep those big men moving, get them gassed, and then try and take advantage in the last quarter. As for a combined 15 then, if you had access to all the players, what would you select? Now, just to make this simple, I only pick shirt number 1 versus shirt number 1, 2 versus 2, 3, rather than juggling people around into a team, just to keep it simple. So with that in mind, I've got Pierre Schumann as my loose head prop. I don't think Cyril Bay's been... I mean, he'll probably answer that question this weekend, but he's not been the Cyril Bay that would have comfortably been in this time last year, and I've been really impressed with Schumann this season. Julien Marchand and Mohamed Hawass over Xander Fagerson. Hawass is a beast. Richie Gray, what form he's in. So he gets the nod over Thibaut Flamont. Paul Willemse over Grant Gilchrist. Jamie Ritchie, the sole member of the Scotland squad in the back row. And that's purely because Hamish Watson hasn't performed at the level of last year for a little while. Nor has Charles Olivon, to be perfectly honest. So that was a bit of a toying cost at 7. Gregory Audrey at number 8, although Matt Fagerson's been brilliant. Dupont and Russell, what a halfback partnership that would be, if only it could happen. And then Van der Merwe and Tua Pilotu get in for Scotland as well, which I think that gives you a little sense of where France's dominance will be up front, which is why Scotland have gone for a 6-2 split, and where Scotland's opportunity is in, you can imagine just Finn Russell being the playmaker, having Van der Merwe just cutting lines off him in field, and Tua Pilotu having to tie the French defence in. That is the way they can win. It's brilliant that Paris holds no fear for Scotland whatsoever, and they will go in confident. And France are going in under massive pressure. Make no mistake. If they do not win, it will feel like the wheels are coming off in a World Cup year, which is why we're going to get a massive test of the mettle of this France team, and also of how serious this Scotland team are, because let's not forget, Scotland have got some serious work to do just to get out of their pool in the Rugby World Cup. And I'll tell you what, Ireland, for one, Ireland, South Africa, they will be sat watching very, very closely how Scotland get on in France. This is a massive game, which is why I love that this is the final match of the weekend. It does feel like this is how the games should be programmed. You've got the little starter or a little palate. Oh, you know what I'm trying to say. An aperitif in Italy versus Ireland. You've got the starter, England travelling to Wales. And this is absolutely the main course, a big Sunday roast of rugby. Bring it on. Leave your comments, hit subscribe, and I'll have loads of content coming over the weekend.